What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here with yet another live stream for you guys. A happy Friday to everyone out there. We have another pre-season friendly to look forward to. First game on the tour, which is Sunday, 4 a.m. kickoff, which is fantastic timing. But Sim's back here with us. How are we doing?
Yeah, feeling better today. Not 100%, but be back in the studio next week. But absolutely
Next week,
buzzing
we need to be
about
back in the studio this weekend, mate.
Sunday morning. But absolutely buzzing about the Zerbi ball. Absolutely buzzing about it.
Yeah.
And Mateus Fernandes with one of the goals of pre-season. We love scoring bangers in pre-season.
I know, last year was halfway line, Pat Matissar. This year is Mateus
I remember
Fernandes. I swear,
Kane scored one halfway line.
I tell you what, Mateus Fernandes is never going to score a better goal than that. Literally, he's wasted it in pre-season.
Yeah, he's peaked. He's peaked after 3 minutes of his Spurs career.
Yeah. But, yeah, look, a lot to get into today. But without further ado, let's give a massive big up to okjersey.com. Look at these shirts we're wearing. You can't get better quality than OK Jersey, people. 10% is your discount. The code is Spurs. They got all the new Spurs shirts on there. The training gear is coming soon. So no better place to go than OK Jersey. Do remember, when you do order a size up. And I know there's been such good reviews from all our viewers that have purchased and copped the shirts so far. So get yours today, people. okjersey.com. The link is in the live chat. There has been the media duties for Andy Robertson and Jan-Paul van Hecke. Squad numbers have been revealed. So as you can see, Jan-Paul van Hecke has been given the number 6 shirt, which, yeah, I mean, not exactly the biggest surprise because we were expecting him to get the number 6, but follows the big players of João Palhinha, Radu Dragusin, Nabil Bentaleb, Davinson Sanchez. So big acts to follow.
Yeah, apart from Paulinho, we haven't had exactly the best players wearing that number. But yeah, I think clearly earlier in the win, we didn't announce their numbers because I think maybe out of respect to Paulinho, and also same with Robbo, with Dragusin, that we're just waiting for them to leave, and then we're gonna. I mean, it's no surprise. It's no surprise Van Hecke has got number 6. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's a good number. I think Senesi's got number 5. He's got number 6. So I'm guessing Van der Ven's probably going to stick with 37.
Yeah, 37 is a number close to his heart for various different reasons.
He's going to stay with that. He'll stay with that. So, yeah, I mean, good. Happy with it.
And Andy Robertson was given the number 3. Everyone was asking, why have you not taken the number 26, where he said in the interview, it's respect to Ledley King that I didn't request the number, because Spurs haven't had a number 26 since Ledley King donned the shirt. So Spurs have kind of like unofficially retired that shirt number. He follows a long line of Radu Dragusin, Sergio Reguilon, Danny Rose, Gareth Bale, and Lee Young Pyo. So yeah, a bit of a better number 3.
Yeah, I think. Do you reckon he was told to say that, or
Probably.
do you reckon he was told to say Ledley King? Because do you reckon he remembers? I mean, I'm trying to remember. Ledley King retired in 2012. I don't know if Robertson was even playing then, but he probably knew of him. Obviously
there is no chance he knew of that situation, I think, before coming to Spurs. I think,
like, of course I knew 26 Ledley King. Of course I knew I couldn't take it.
I think it came to it to choose his number, and then before he even said anything, the club probably said to him, you know, nobody's had this number since Ledley King, and I know it's your favourite number. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll choose 3.
Fair enough. Yeah, and 3 is a pretty good number for a left back. So it's no surprise. I mean, Ben Davis must be looking and thinking, I've been here for 14 years and I've never been given the chance to get number 3. And you've come here, you know, and immediately you're given that number. But yeah, a good number for a left back, I think, number 3. Pretty happy with that.
As someone says in the comments, Savinho also wears number 26. So we'll have to wait and see what he takes.
Yeah. But let's see if he's got the balls to take it.
Yeah. The official World Cup Dream Team has come out. and a certain Pedro Porro has made the list. So the team is as follows. He got Vozinha in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Upamecano and Lisandro Martinez at centre-back, Cucurella the other flank, Rodri, Elise and Bellingham in midfield, with Messi, Mbappe and Erling Haaland in the forward line. I think I find it interesting that Lisandro Martinez instead of Cuti Romero, but there you have it. I thought both of them were pretty good, but I thought Romero was the better of the two. But yeah, big up to Pedro Porro, best right back at the World Cup.
Yeah, fully deserved. I thought he was phenomenal pretty much throughout the whole tournament. Came up with some massive moments in the one in the semi-final. And also that performance in the final, and was heavily involved in the goal. I just thought he was so consistent. It's mad that in the first game he didn't start for whatever reason. De La Fuente didn't start him in that first game. But I think what was so maybe surprising, especially when you look back at that France game and when he scored that goal, was I might have surprised a lot of people how he just locked down all their attacking options. They started, I think, with Barcola, and then he wasn't doing it. They went with Doué. He couldn't get any spare change, and Porro really showed in that game that he can defend against elite level opposition. And I think a lot of people have questioned that. Everyone knows, the goal we scored, and that everyone knows he's capable of that. But when he locked those players down, I think that was him showing the world it's not just like average wingers I can contend. These are like elite level wingers who are tearing apart most of the other fullbacks at the competition, and yet they came out against Porro and they came unstuck. So big up to him. What a tournament. I'm so happy he signed that contract.
Yeah, probably our best signing of the summer, getting him locked down to that contract, because, if they would have waited till after the World Cup, he probably could have demanded 200 grand more on the contract, and, maybe some other clubs would be seriously going for him. But, he's here, he's at Spurs to stay, and apparently he instructed his agent, no matter who comes in, I want to stay at Spurs under Roberto De Zerbi. So some loyalty shown there from Pedro Porro. There's been a picture that has come online regarding Dejan Kulusevski. Decky is back in training, people. They didn't focus on him, but if we make that picture bigger, you can see just in the distance there a certain ginger attacker for Tottenham Hotspur. So Dejan Kulusevski back in training, people. What are we saying about that?
Yeah, it's hard to know what exactly. I mean, it looks like he's in training, but is he off doing individual stuff? Is he with the team? Obviously, he's in the background with Van Hecke. It's hard to know exactly what the context of it. Obviously, he looks like he's on the grass. He looks like he's with the team, but I don't know if he's. You can be on the same pitch doing individual stuff, like off in the distance kind of thing, while the other team are actually doing stuff. But he looks like he's with the team there. It's hard to know. It's hard to know, really, isn't it? What exactly we can take away from it. You would think people are saying
there's an echo.
You would think that if he was back training with the team, would the social media team have made a thing of it, or maybe they want to keep it under wraps? Obviously, we know he's not going on the tour, right? He's not on the. No. He's not. No, he's obviously. So, if he was fit enough to be training, you would think he'd be going like he'd be on the tour if he was that far along. So
yeah, what I think that is obviously Van Hecke came back later than everyone else that's there. I think it was just whilst Van Hecke was getting put through his paces for the fitness stuff before he actually gets on the pitch to do on the field training. I think it was just like fitness regimes and getting him up to speed in that sense. So I don't think Kulusevski is back in full-time training.
That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to get too excited. I think there's been moments in Decky's recovery where we're like, oh, it's happening. Oh, he's back in training. Look at this video. Look at that. And then it just goes quiet for a while. So I'll wait to hear proper updates about him training with the first team and all that kind of stuff before I get really excited about his return. Obviously, if we can get him back on the pitch, that changes so much for us in terms of our options in the forward line, how dangerous we are, the quality we have on the pitch as well. We're all so desperate to see him back on the pitch and to have the Decky, especially that we had, it's so long ago now. We're talking about the first half of the season in Ange's second season. That that's the when we last saw Decky at his very very best, and that was in what 2024. So and we're now in 2026. So it's getting near to like 2 years ago that when we last saw Decky at his very best, isn't it? It's absolutely
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I know.
So obviously we're all desperate for it, and I'm sure he's more desperate than anyone. Um, but let's see. Let's not put too much pressure on him. I know he's probably putting enough pressure on himself, but it's yeah. Let's hope. It's encouraging. He's on the pitch at the very least.
Yeah, at least he's there. And we've seen him, playing basketball, doing some shooting drills as well. So hopefully it's just another step in his recovery. And George Sessions said that we could see him in the first half of the season. So still very vague, but he's saying that a potential return at some point during the first half of the season. What else? Yeah, so let's get into some transfer news. And let's start off talking about our Brazilian number 9, Richarlison, as Spurs Journal has said that Richarlison is now poised to remain at the club during the summer window. The Spurs player has expressed his desire to stay and wants to be a part of Tottenham's new project. So, I mean, we heard a week or so ago that Richarlison doesn't want to leave the club, and obviously it takes two to tango. It's all well and good Spurs accepting a bid, but Richarlison's got to accept to go wherever the bid is accepted. So we've had this situation pretty much every summer. I think for the last 2 summers, we've been open to him leaving. We've probably been open to accepting bids that have come in. But Richarlison has never been open to leaving. So I guess we're stuck in this situation again.
And to be fair, he was our top goal scorer last season with 11 goals. Again, I've never thought he's a bad player, but I just think it's time for him to go. It's time for us to move on from him, and we need to get an upgrade. And I don't really, just like with all our players, I don't care if they're here or not. I just don't want it to prevent us upgrading and I don't want us to use Richarlison staying as an excuse not to sign a striker. And I feel like we would have done that under Levy. We've done that in previous years, but we need to show we're acting differently. Look, if Richarlison says, I'm putting my foot down and I am staying, fine, but don't use that as an excuse, Tottenham, to not go and sign Krupi or whoever it is you in your mind who you want in the forward line because Richarlison's saying he's staying. If Richarlison wants to stay and fight for his place and we sign a striker and he wants to battle it out with them, fine, I don't really care. I know people are losing their mind because they think, in their mind, they assume anyway, rightly or wrongly, they assume us Richarlison staying, and if that means if also Solanke stays, does that mean the striker's not going to be top priority? And then look, I'm not going to rule that out, and there is a chance that has how Tottenham has acted previously. So I understand the frustration, but I'm not going to get frustrated with that kind of news until it's confirmed that we're not now getting a striker because we've got these 2 strikers. Then I would be frustrated. Then I would be annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, but it is a bit of concern, whatever way you want to slice it, because the other players that we've brought in is because we know that we're going to be selling some of the other players. Like Van Hecker came in because we know Romero is going to be leaving the club, right? If Richarlison and Solanke are both
still here, though, isn't he?
He is still here, but we know he's going to be leaving. But we know he's going to be leaving the club. If Richarlison is refusing to leave, then he's not going to be leaving the club.
If Romero ends up staying, does Van Hecker go back to Brighton?
But he's not going to end up staying.
Or he might do. Who knows what happens? Maybe I don't know. You never know in football. I think he will leave as well. I agree. But what did we do? Did we not sign Van Hecker just in case Romero doesn't go? We didn't do that.
We signed him because we knew he's leaving.
It doesn't matter. He's not. But he hasn't gone yet, has he?
No, but the plan was to move him on, right?
Yeah.
The plan might change now from Richarlison not wanting to leave, so there's no plan to move him on.
Or it shouldn't, is my point.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like,
if it does change, then I have an issue with it. If it does change the plan about what we do in the forward line because Richarlison decides himself he's staying, then I have an issue with it. If Richarlison wants to risk either being in the reserves or being on the bench or being left out of squads because he wants to stay, I don't really care. But as long as we sign a striker, I'm not bothered. But I agree. It could potentially be frustrating.
If Richarlison is refusing to leave, then I would go and sell Solanke. That's what I would do. If Solanke's open to leaving, there were rumours that he had a deal sewn up with a Saudi Arabian club before, our safety was secure. Let Solanke leave if that's the case. I know a certain manager in Saudi that would love to take him.
So either of them, but I don't care who we sell. Just to sign a striker. That's my main thing. Keep both of them, but sign a striker. I don't care. As long as that's my main thing. I want to see Tottenham signing a striker, and I don't think we should be using Solanke or Richarlison staying or going as any excuse to not upgrade in that position.
Yeah,
that is my point. And as I've said in previous windows, we have used it as excuses. And this window, it seemed as though we stopped doing that. As I say, Van Hecker, we signed the midfielders. We didn't wait to sell Bergvall and Sarr before signing, Tonali and Fernandez. As much as we, expect to sell, want to sell, we didn't wait, did we? So we shouldn't wait this time. And we should be open to offers, and we should be looked to sell them. But if we can't sell them, we should have their upgrade already through the door. Shouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's how we should be acting. It's just a case of, will we do that in the forward line if there's no kind of interest or want for these players to leave?
Well, we've done it in the other positions. Why shouldn't we do it in the forward line?
Because in the midfield, Lucas Bergvall is obviously wanting to leave, and there's heavy interest in him, and there's offers coming in for him. Different situations in different positions. If Solanke and Richarlison both are saying they don't want to leave, and they refuse to leave, and it's a different situation than what it was in the defence and the midfield.
Yeah, potentially, but I don't think it should change. It shouldn't change for me how Tottenham act. We shouldn't be dictated. Our transfer policy shouldn't be dictated by players sticking their feet in the ground. We should be the masters of our own destiny.
I completely agree with that. But I hope that's the case. I hope. I'm just a bit concerned about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and you're right to be, because history says that has affected how we do things. That is true. But then history says we wouldn't have done what we've done before, which we wouldn't have previously. We wouldn't have signed Van Hecker before we got Romero out the door and stuff like that. That's also how we would have done previously.
Yeah, like I said, different situations, but let's hope it's the same outcome.
I'm comparing it to how we would have done it before.
Yeah. Look, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's hope we do still bring in a striker. I'm desperate for one. Let's talk about Cuti Romero. A lot going on with Romero right now. Longari broke the news saying there has been promising talks between Inter and Tottenham, with indications that a deal could potentially be done on a more favourable term than Spurs' initial €50 million asking price. It won't be an easy deal to complete, but Inter are prepared to seriously pursue Romero, as he is a player they are fully convinced by. Barcelona are also aware of the situation, but they would first need to sell a centre-back as Ronald Araujo before making a move. And then Romero Intertrack heating up as images of Ciro Palermo, who is the agent of Cuti Romero, in Milan with the entourage Vincent Casella. The negotiations with Inter are heating up, as revealed on July the 1st. The club is trying to progress with Tottenham. Inter's director Piero Orzilio returned to Milan yesterday to do negotiations. Fabrizio Romano says that he understands Inter had an initial direct contact with Romero's camp. Talks taking place on both club and players' side. Expensive and not easy, but Inter are trying with the negotiations ongoing. He also went on to say that it's 200% confirmed now that Inter is negotiation for Cuti Romero. Guaranteed. Inter has already spoke to Tottenham contacts. The contacts have started. And they have not only spoken with them, but also with Romero's representatives. Inter are now working on the financial side of a deal. The salary and the transfer fee is not done, but Inter are actively working on it. And Himothy says that he understands that Inter have made progress in their pursuit of Cuti Romero. Club talks are progressing, and there are no issues on personal terms. Romero prefers Barcelona, but some believe that their interest is agent-driven, as they have many centre-backs at the club right now. Very interesting, because the financials of this deal is obviously going to be big for Inter Milan. They're talking about, 40 million, 45 million euros that they could potentially land on. And also, Cuti Romero is obviously the highest paid player at the club at around 200 grand a week or something like that. And Is that something Inter are prepared to go to, or is Romero going to have to take a pay cut?
Romero ain't taking no pay cut. I'm pretty sure about that. So I don't know what the wages are like in Serie A, but and I don't know what their highest player that they've got there. I don't know, is Lautaro on something similar? I don't know. Out there in Inter,
Lautaro is 120 grand more than Romero.
So I think wages shouldn't be that much of an issue then. If Lautaro's on that much,
they've got players Calhanoglu, Barella around the same amount as Romero, Bastoni about the same amount. Yeah, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
That shouldn't be too much. It's just the fee, as we mentioned before. Serie A clubs, it's difficult for them. But,
yeah, but £35 million is something that they've been to under this ownership, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
I think we asked for more than that. I don't think I think it's more £45 million than euros. I'll be shocked if it's €45 million. But hey, it might well be at this point.
Well, apparently the asking price is €50 million, and there's going to be some sort of meat around it.
Yeah, let's see what they land on. Obviously, it's not a price I don't think Tottenham want to sell at, but at the end of the day, I think they just want this over and done with at this point. They don't want to drag on for too much longer. Although we've got our replacement, so why does it really matter how long it drags on for at this point? But yeah, I think Inter Milan would be a really good move for him. I think he'd fit right in there. I have just seen a report from Matteo Moretto. He's saying that Barca are in contact with Romero's entourage. That's quite interesting.
Apparently, that deal is very much linked to them selling Ronald Araujo. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if Atleti don't come back in for him. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see if there's any development there. But we haven't heard anything about that. Yeah, I mean, it just would. I mean, look, Inter are a very good team. They've been recently in Champions League final. They're competing for Serie A every single season. I don't know if he envisaged going to Inter as the big move, probably that he was looking for. Though, but you got to say, going to Milan, big city, they are a big team out in Italy. You wouldn't call it a downgrade, would you? So it is a good move for him, and I think the way they play their back three would be very suited to Romero. They play a very aggressive back three. Their centre backs given a lot of license to get forward and stuff. So I think Romero would absolutely love that. I think it would be a good move. If they put the money on, yeah, I can see it happening. But let's see if they put the money out.
Yeah, look, it's a step up in his career at the end of the day. Going from what we bought him from Genoa, then him, was it Genoa? It was Genoa, wasn't it?
No, we bought him from Atalanta.
Atalanta, that's it. Atalanta to Tottenham to Inter Milan. You know, it produced a step up every in his career trajectory.
Well, he was at Juve at one point.
Yeah, but he never really saw many minutes at Juve, didn't he?
He didn't. But I'm just saying he was at that club.
Yeah. So obviously, I think, look, Inter are bigger than Juve at this moment in time, or a better team than Juve at this moment in time. So,
yeah.
Inter are probably the best team in Serie A. They are. Yeah. So I think it's a very good move for him. If Barcelona do come in and they're serious about it, then I think he'll jump at the chance to go to Barcelona. We all know he wants to go to Spain. So let's hope that, you know, your hopes of Atletico Madrid coming in come to fruition, and Barcelona come in as well, because then that can, you know, give a bit of a bidding war, and then maybe we will get the fee that we want. Yeah,
exactly. I think the chances of getting the fee that we should be getting, which is around, for me, we should be getting, considering the prices that have been banded about this window, we should be getting 70 million, but that's not going to happen, is it? So I think we have to kiss goodbye any chance of us getting a fee that we should be really getting for a player of his talent, in my opinion. So we're going to have to make a compromise, but I think £35 million is ridiculous, in my opinion, if we're considering selling for that.
It is ridiculous. When we're getting 20 million for Will Lancashire, 35 million for Romero is absolutely nuts. But I guess it's just more money added to the coffers. It's not like we're short on money bringing in from players that we've brought in this summer. So if he goes for that much, he goes for that much as a ridiculous price it is. So it's not going to make too much of a difference, I guess. Vicario next. There's been some more information regarding Vicario. Fabrizio Romano says that Vicario left out of Tottenham's pre-season tour as he's fully expected to leave the club this summer. Spurs are understood to value Vicario in the region of £25 million. George Sessions says that Juventus expected to step up the pursuit of Vicario. Loan with an option to buy would be Juventus's preference for Vicario, but loan with a conditional obligation, a potential solution. I think I saw somewhere that they had a bid rejected for Emi Martinez in the last 24 hours. So maybe that's going to turn their heads to Vicario now.
Well, Tom Allnut says he's been left out because he's got an ankle sprain.
Bullshit. They said that on the official website. They said he's left out because of injury. But I am not buying that for 1 second.
No one is more injury prone than a player who's looking to leave. I think it's fair to say they're the most injury prone players on the planet. Every time that around this kind of time as well, like pre-season tour, who's going and who's not. Always, they've got a little niggle, they got an injury, they're left out. It's January transfer window or whatever. They're being left out because they've got a little injury. Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously it's absolutely rubbish.
I'm surprised Bergvall doesn't have an injury now, to be fair.
Well, maybe that transfer is not as certain as we think it is, and we'll get to that maybe. But yeah, when it comes to Vicario, he's off. We know that. I don't know when, where. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him in Juventus. I think, obviously, Emi Martinez is their first choice still, but Villa seem very certain to keep him. So it's easier. We're an easier deal to do because we want to sell, and Villa don't. So Vicario is definitely an easier deal to do. It's just whether they're willing to kind of take maybe a bit of a worse keeper.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw yesterday on the update. SZY said that Spurs could still be looking to bring in a goalkeeper. Kinski will be assessed in the first. I mean, it was a weird update. He said that Kinski will be assessed before the transfer window closes, and Spurs could still go in for another goalkeeper. And Dubravka is seen as a third choice keeper. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
But that's what he said. I was like, what are you talking about?
So we could still sign a first choice keeper with Kinski number 2.
That's what he's suggesting, yeah.
I mean, at the start of the window, that wouldn't have massively surprised me because I've always said, like, Kinski had a great 7 games, but is that enough to be our number 1 over however long? It's a bit of a risk, but obviously he signed that contract, 5-year deal, and the way they announced it was implying, okay, he's getting the trust of the team, the squad, and the manager, and he was saying he's so thankful to have the trust of the manager, and it was all obviously they didn't outright say it, but it was all implying he's going to be our number 1 next season, and that's why he's getting this new deal. So if they now come around and say, actually, we are going to sign a guy to either compete or be ahead of Kinski, I don't know what kind of message that sends out. It would seem very odd. Very odd to me with that. And obviously Trafford's about to go Leeds, it looks like, so it's not going to be him. Who are we going to sign?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's a weird one. Strange one. I guess we'll have to wait and see how that one progresses. But I don't think anything will progress. I think it'll just be Kinski, number 1, till at least January. Let's talk about Lucas Bergvall then. Obviously on the tour, currently just landed in Auckland. Team Talk reporting that Brighton are preparing to make a major push to sign Lucas Bergvall. Spurs' £60 million valuation is not putting off teams. Brighton are ready to move, and Nottingham Forest is still very keen as well. We heard, obviously, Newcastle made a bid that was rebuffed by Tottenham. I can actually see some legs in this. I know Team Talk not the most reliable source, but that's the kind of player that they would go for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all, but it's all very strange we'll talk about Bentancur in a moment, but Bentancur's been left out the tour. Bergvall's gone on the tour, yet Bergvall went out of the World Cup after Bentancur did, so surely Bergvall should be the one who needs a bit more time, not Bentancur. So why is Bergvall there and Bentancur not? Obviously, most of the noise from the club side is that we don't want to sell Bergvall. Obviously, the noise from Bergvall is he wants to go and he wants opportunities and all that kind of stuff. But we've so far rejected all the bids, and some of them quite decent bids. Of 46 million, we've rejected them. So I think 60 million. If someone bids that, surely that's too much for even us to hold out on.
Yeah.
I know Bergwaj's a talented player, but 60 million is just that's too good an offer. And even if it means, even if we sell him and Bentancur, we'll get into Bentancur later. I mean, you can go for someone else potentially of a high quality, and we could talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, Brighton might be looking at Bergvall. Obviously, he's got a friend there in Ayari who plays with him in the national team as well. He could definitely be a very Brighton kind of player. I could see that. Very technical, good physically as well. I mean, the only thing is, a bit like Vuskovic, like if Brighton are in for him, he must be really good because Brighton have a great
But he
scouting
is
team.
very
So
good. We know he's very good.
yeah, we know he's very good. We know
That's
he's
no
very good.
secret. But the interesting thing about this whole Bergvall and Bentancur thing is that SZY actually was speaking about Alex Scott, and he was saying that Alex Scott will prioritise completely a move to Tottenham over anyone. He's obviously heavily linked with Chelsea right now, and he's very open to joining Chelsea. But apparently, he is stalling on the move to go to Chelsea. Maybe there's something going on in the background there with Alex Scott, Bentancur, who knows? But, you know, I think there could be something going on in the background here.
That would be amazing if we sell Bergvall and Bentancur, bring in Scott. That would be incredible. But then
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. I mean, we're keeping Sarr, I guess. I don't know. But whatever.
Maybe you
as
could
long as
sell
we-
Sarr and Bentancur, keep Bergvall and Scott.
That would be incredible. That would be incredible business. Well, let's not get too excited about that just yet. But that would be amazing. That would be. I would 100% do that.
And take him
100%.
under Chelsea's noses as well.
Oh my God. Oh, as I've always said, well, Alex Scott, when you've got someone who's fully coys like him and who's good as him, it'll be a real shame to waste that, and not have him play for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Because we've had enough instances where good players, and there's a situation where they've only wanted Arsenal, whoever else. It's not. I mean, I know it's a shame, but it's not so often where you get a star player like that who's a proper Spurs fan from young. It's not the most common thing, unfortunately. So when you've got someone like that, I just don't think we should waste that opportunity.
So you think we should go for Konsa as well?
Is he a Spurs fan?
Yeah.
Is he?
Konsa, yeah.
Like a
Ezri
big one?
Konsa. Yeah, he's a Spurs fan.
Didn't know that. Yeah, go for him as well.
Bring them all in.
Yeah, I want a team of fully coys. That's what I want.
And look, even if the Scott thing doesn't happen, there's also Morgan Gibbs-White that you could go back in for again as well. I think either of those two would be fantastic signings to complete that midfield if some of those midfielders do end up leaving.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's get into Bentancur because SZY has done an update saying that Spurs will listen to offers for Bentancur. His future isn't certain. And that's the first thing I thought of when I saw him not on that list. And Spurs was like, they've left him and Pape Sarr. They've given him and Pape Sarr extended leave. Like, what does why have they given them extended leave? Just makes no sense whatsoever. Like you mentioned before, there are players, more than one player, in the team right now that have gone on the tour that last in the World Cup longer than both Bentancur and Sarr. So why the hell have Bentancur and Sarr both been given extended leave? It's been obviously very, it's been said that we're looking to move on Sarr. There's just not been that much interest in him. So maybe the Sarr one makes sense. But the Bentancur thing, nobody has said anything about him leaving. But I think Spurs might be looking to move on both these guys.
I mean, that's what I would assume because Bentancur went out in the group stages in the World Cup, and also Sarr barely played as well. So neither of them really have the need to, especially if like Bergvall and stuff's on the tour. Neither of them really need that extended leave. What would they need it for? Not because they need more time off. It wouldn't make too much sense compared to other players. So something has to be. I think something a bit fishy is afoot, in my opinion, when it comes to especially Bentancur. Everyone, I guess, has just assumed Bentancur, considering how he ended the season, those last 7 games, he was definitely going to be one of De Zerbi's guys. But then, De Zerbi said himself many times, oh, Paulini, I definitely want him to stay, blah blah blah, and he ended up actually not really wanting him to stay, and wanting him out. So, was it just a case of getting the best out of Bentancur for those 7 games, and now he's actually willing to get some good offers for him? Which I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I've obviously got mixed feelings about because I like Bentancur, but at the end of the day, if we're being the barefaced facts are, ever since the injury, he's just been inconsistent. That is just the truth. We have seen glimpses of him back to his best, but he's just never ever really hit the heights of when he was. Look, there's been some good performances and good moments, and I don't think he's been truly bad, but he's not been truly outstanding or good either. That's the truth. So if we get the opportunity to move him on, I don't know how much we would demand, you reckon 25, 30 million, something like that for him?
I think less.
What? No, why not? That's not a bad price.
I think about 15, 20 million.
15 million for Bentancur?
Yeah, I think so.
That's really low, isn't it?
Yeah, he's turning 30 this season. I don't think he's got that much of a market value, to be honest. And I think I don't think he'll end up staying in England. I think he'll go back to Italy or go somewhere around Europe, and we know they pay less.
I think 15 million would be. He's only got a year left, someone says. Is that true? Maybe that makes sense then. I think you should try and get 20 million for him. No, didn't he just sign a contract though?
Well, they're not rumours of it. I don't know if he actually signed it.
Well, I thought he signed one not that long ago.
Bentancur did sign a contract. His contract runs till 2029. It's not a year left.
Not a year left then. I think we should be trying to get at least 25 million for him, in my opinion. That's I don't think that's outrageous. 25 for Bentancur is. I don't think that's a bad deal. I think that's decent money, decent signing in this market. I don't think 25 million is a bad deal for Bentancur. Anyway, we should try if we do sell him. I'm not that against it. If we're going to reinvest in maybe an Alex Scott or someone else, or maybe if that means we've been saying, haven't we? We would rather sell Bentancur than Bergvall because Bergvall, as much as Bentancur might be a better player now, Bergvall is going to be a better player for the long term and maybe won't take too much catching up with Bentancur. So the only thing is, Bentancur showed last year in those 7 games when he came back, he did make a massive, massive difference. I guess the difference now is we have Tonali and Fernandes, so he shouldn't make as much difference as he did last season, if we're being honest.
If I'm Bentancur, I'm looking at the situation being like, well, you've just signed these players and spent 200 million on these 2 top midfielders. I'm clearly not, a big look, you're a big midfielder, but I'm not a starter anymore. So maybe he's looking at the situation being like, well, I need to go play football somewhere.
Yeah, he could be feeling that as well. Maybe he wants out. Who knows? I think it would be a shame because I think he showed what he could do under De Zerbi in that very short amount of time. So I think having him for depth would be good. But as I say, if we're going to sell him and Sarr and keep Bergvall and reinvest in another midfielder, I'm not against that whatsoever.
Yeah, look, when the Bergvall news came out, I said to you many times, like, we should not be getting rid of Bergvall. We should get rid of Bentancur and then push Bergvall into Bentancur's position, and that sees enough minutes for Bergvall to carry on his development. So I think if Bentancur goes, as much as he is the better player right now, I think Bergvall can very quickly get to that level. So I think it's the right move to move Bentancur on this summer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing is, if Bentancur goes and Bergvall stays, and then you've got Tonali and Fernandes, the only question you look at that midfield is, as much as they're all good players, like, is there enough steel in there? Is there enough grit? Do we need a bit of that? Do we need someone who's going to put in some tackles and that kind of stuff, or is that not maybe how Deserbi's going to play? And I
think Tonali and Mateus Fernandes put in a lot of tackles, a lot. They're very aggressive players.
Yeah, but you wouldn't classify them as defensive midfielders, would you?
No, they're not. But they're players. Well, some say Tonali's, and they both consider themselves as number 6s.
Yeah, I guess if that's the case, then we don't need Son at number 6. But I don't know. I guess you look on the face of it. Is there a risk that you need some just dual winning? I mean, I guess they do win. It depends. I guess depends. Maybe the idea of what we need or what we want. I mean, bloody he
They
played.
both are dual winners. Mateus Fernandes and Tonali are both dual winners. That's one
He
of their
played
strengths.
he played Williams, Barnett, and Donnelly in a double pivot the other day. So
Yeah.
what do I know?
All right, let's move on from that. Let's talk about Alfie Dorrington, an interesting situation regarding Dorrington. So he was all set to go play in the Polish league, and now the move is off as Dorrington has had a change of heart and he wants to find a club ideally in the Championship. So, yeah, unfortunately, fortunately for Dorrington, he's not going to play in Poland anymore.
Yeah, fair play to him. Don't blame him. I think that's definitely better for his career if he goes to the Championship than goes off in Poland. So I think he's done the right thing. But obviously, finding a club in the Championship is going to be tough, isn't it? It's not an easy thing to do, especially given how his career's gone. It's just not gone great. So where was he? He was at Salford last season.
Yeah, not doing much, to be honest. Not much game time.
And where are they? They're in League Two,
League One.
League One. So I think he might have to settle for a League One or League Two team. To be honest, I don't know who he's struck to find a Championship team.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Maybe go back to Scotland or something. You know, he did okay at Aberdeen at times, won a trophy there as well. Maybe he finds another club in Scotland. Who knows? Oh, they're in League Two, not League One. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Dorrington. And last but not least, we spoke yesterday about the academy players that are going to get the trust, that have the trust of Roberto De Zerbi, or who he highly regards. And one of them was obviously Lucas Williams-Barnett. There's Junai Byfeld, Callum Olusesi, and another player that has the trust, who is highly regarded, is Malachi Hardy. Sam Tabital saying that he recently signed a long-term deal with the club and he's highly regarded at Tottenham Hotspur. And that second half, I thought he was fantastic. He really was at that right centre-back position. So calm, composed, confident. He's on the tour as well, so it'll be interesting to see more of him.
Yeah, I think that was so encouraging with a lot of the youngsters against the MK Dons, how they were performing. And De Zerbi has a good history of bedding in young players into his squads and stuff. So all this news is really, really encouraging. I mean, off the back of, we were talking the other day about, are we selling too many youngsters and are we selling too much? And now we're talking about integrating all these other youngsters potentially and them not having all the trust. That's really encouraging. Malachi Hardy, he seems big, tall. He seems someone who's really good on the ball. I really like the look of him. I did really like the look of him. So let's see. I mean, when they say they're going to have the trust and all this kind of stuff, does that mean they're going to be in the first team next season? Does that mean they're just got there in our long-term plans? Is that what it means? Because I think when it comes to these players being in our long-term plans, you just never really know what the future holds with a lot of these players. You can think they're great now, and then once they turn 20, you get a good offer and they're gone. Like a lot of our players that's happened this summer. So I hope all these players we're talking about, they seem like it seems as though we right now want the trust in them, but until they're like integrated to the team, you can never know if they ever will be. That's the reality.
Yeah, and you look at these positions, the centre-back position is obviously heavily stocked. We've got 2 centre-backs on the right, we've got 2 centre-backs on the left, and now we've got 2 centre-backs from the academy that are highly rated in Junai Byfeld and Malachi Hardy. So, look, Junai is 17, Malachi is 18, so they've got a lot of time on their hands. Junai and Luca Williams-Barnett can't even go on loan because you can't go on loan till you're 18. So maybe they'll just be in and around the first team this year without getting too many minutes. Whereas Malachi, maybe you look to loan him out for the year because you can't have a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old playing third choice. So I don't know, unless they just play in the under-21s, but maybe that's below their level now. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think... Luca Williams-Barnett was playing. I mean, that must have been. Was that his first ever game against like proper like?
Well, he came on against Doncaster last season, didn't he?
Yeah, but okay, fine. But like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
like against a proper men's team. I can't think of when else he would have played
No,
against.
no, that was his first time. I mean, I don't know what kind of team MK Dons even had out for the second half. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was their first team, their second team, or what. I don't know.
he was playing central midfield and he was incredible,
Yeah,
absolutely incredible, and what a talent. So yeah, we should try. I mean, he looks like he's really he looks a lot bigger than he was when we came on against Doncaster, 100%. So
what I
very,
would
very
say about them two, Luca Williams-Barnett and Junai Byfeld, even Malachi Harder, they all look physically ready. They do. Like Junai, when he came in for those appearances last season, you know, not the Liverpool game, but a few other games, the Champions League and whatever, he looked the same as anyone else physically.
yeah. Well, if you're good enough, you're old enough. That's the reality. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you're up to it, then you should be getting up chances. So I think De Zerbi will be looking at that talent and he'll be thinking, I could use these kids. I think these guys could definitely be of use throughout the season. So I think Junai and Williams Barnett, if they can't go on loan, might as well keep them around the first team. I think
Yeah.
get under 21. So I think they've already shown that they could make an impact. Could Williams Barnett be another Rashford or something like that? Who knows? Sometimes there are kids who are just ready.
I mean, those
You know?
two passes he made, that one for Richarlison and that one for Yang Min Hyuk, was just wow. Haven't seen passing like that at Tottenham since Tom Huddleston.
It was just his decision making, his ability to like burst past the player, then on the run play a pass like a through ball, inch perfect. Like that is not easy to do. That there are players currently playing in the Premier League who can't do that. Like it was something to behold. So I'm can't wait to see more of him during the tour. I'm certain we are going to see more of him, and that was so exciting. So exciting. Malachi Hardy was great. A lot of Donnelly, we didn't see too as much as from Donnelly, but
I thought Donnelly was poor, to be honest.
yeah, but I'm super excited about seeing more of Williams Barnett.
And another interesting one was Callum Olusesi. I mean, every time we've seen him in the first team, he's looked very good as well.
True.
So,
But what I don't understand, when would if has he not been injured?
Olusesi,
Did he play?
he's injured now. He's injured. He's not on the tour.
Saying. So when would have De Zerbi would have seen him?
God knows. Maybe he's been tracking him. Who knows?
Because I guess was he on the bench during the last 7 games maybe? Because he was playing a bit during that time.
Yeah, he came on against Liverpool.
Yeah, that wasn't Derby, but yeah. Yeah, maybe he knows. Maybe he's tracked him. Interesting. Or maybe it's a club decision. I don't know. Who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your report on all the news that has happened, and hopefully some more things happening. Still, we need those bloody attackers in. Desperate for some attackers.
A lot of people are getting worried. And understandably, I mean,
I told you I was getting worried a couple of weeks ago.
yeah, but I also think like we wouldn't be in a weird way because we got so much business done, and we showed an ability to get so many signings in quickly. The fact that we've now been a bit of a delay, that's made people more worried in a weird way. Whereas we're still 5 weeks away from the end of the window, so. I mean, we've still got time, don't we, to get players in and out? It's not like we're running out of time.
Yeah, there's just over a month left of the window, but we need to get it done. It's all well and good talking about it. Let's get the business done. I think the Savinho one will happen. I think it's just playing a waiting game, maybe for Man City to bring someone in. But it's about who else we bring in apart from Savinho, because there's not been any serious or credible links to anyone.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe someone's going to come out the blue, or who knows? I mean, it doesn't always work out that the players you're linked with you get. It doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah. But also, everyone says, oh, you can't get everything you want in the window. And that's what's playing in the back of my mind. We need everything, though, because if we don't get these forward lines, our forward line don't look great.
Yeah, we need the forward line. We need these forward players. We need 2 wingers. And there's no update on Kudus, is there? He didn't go on the tour, but we've
Yeah,
seen him in
there is an
training.
update. The update is that he's going to be fit for the first game of the season.
Okay, but he's wasn't fit enough to go on the tour.
No, he stayed back to do rehabilitation work, apparently.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, so, I mean, they say he's going to be back for the first game of the season, but is he going to be, match fit and ready to play from the first game of the season? I don't know.
Yeah, when he be back at his best, it's hard to say.
Because he's been out for ages. You're talking about half a year.
Yeah, I know. It's mental, isn't it? How long he's been out? He's been out since late December.
Yeah. They're saying Rafael Leao, the only clubs seriously interested in him now are Turkish clubs, which is mad.
Krupi's on the bench today for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Let's see if he comes on. Has the second half started there, Bournemouth? Yeah, it has. They're 4-1 up. I don't think he's come on.
Yeah, he hasn't. Approaching the hour mark. They've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've made 11 subs.
Yeah, and no Krupi.
That's interesting, no?
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys don't know about why we're talking about this, because there was some sort of, some noise on social media last night saying Krupi's not applying himself in training, basically, and he's got the hump.
It was a random text from a nameless person on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Who posted a WhatsApp message.
Yeah, but basically,
more.
Yeah, I mean, look, but he said that Krupi's not applying himself in training, and he's been kicked out of training by Marco Rose.
It's like me basically typing in a note and posting it there.
It's true. It's true, but it's true. Read it out.
Yidos, Krupi is trying to force a move to Tottenham, FYI. Sadly, Tottenham don't want to pay 85 million, apparently. My mates in Austria at the moment with Bournemouth, he got kicked out of training yesterday and doing F-all today. Either going Tottenham or Arsenal, I'm hearing.
Yeah, and then the next thing we saw was the Bournemouth training video coming out, and he was not in it. Mm-hmm. They did post a picture today of a player I think Tyler Adams returning or entering the camp, and he was there to give him a little hug. So he was pictured there, but no sighting of him in training and not coming off the bench today. So is there anything in it, or is this just absolute bullshit?
I mean, it seems a bit too much of a coincidence, doesn't it?
You would think he would have come on, at least.
Yeah. Why? But first of all, why isn't he starting? Like, he obviously is their main attacker. They're starting Unal, for God's sake. It's not like Krupi has been away on any international tournaments or anything, or needs a break. He should be fresh, and he should be their main player. Krupi not in the squad on SofaScore. Pretty sure he was in the squad, wasn't he?
He was. No, I saw the squad list. He was there.
So
they brought in Diakite for Unal at half time.
Yeah, so there's no real reason for him not to be starting, or right now. As I said, it's not like he needs a break or anything. Now, then comes the second half. They've made 11 changes and still no Krupi. Like, there's something's very, very fishy going on. Why are they not playing him? Has he picked up an injury? Maybe there's something to that, but we haven't. I mean, no one said anything. Maybe they don't need to say anything. But everyone in the chat saying he's not on the bench. I don't know.
Well, there was the squad list on the piece of paper where they put all the squad, and next to Krupi's name, he was on the S, so it means it was sub.
Unless it was a cheat, I don't know.
Where is it? Here.
The thing is, on SofaScore, it doesn't say the subs. It just says who came on and off. I don't think it has a list of. Oh no, it does.
Look, Sammy, if you bring up this picture that I've just sent to you on WhatsApp, you'll see it's got their whole squad in terms of who's out there. And next to Krupi's name, it says sub. Maybe you could you zoom into Krupi's name? He's there, number...
The left or the right?
On the right. He's number 22.
Hmm.
So he's definitely there.
Well, he was pictured there, wasn't he?
Yeah. I'm saying it says a sub on the subs bench.
How many subs there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Well, it says 19 subs.
Yeah.
So maybe they actually don't intend to bring them all on.
Well, clearly, but he's probably the only actual first teamer that they didn't bring on.
Hmm. It's all very strange. It's all very strange. There must be something.
We need to get to the bottom of this, mate, because we got to the bottom of the Frank thing last summer. We need to get to the bottom of this. Is there anything in this, guys?
Has the random WhatsApp guy, has he
cracked the code?
Look, there's no real reason for him not to play. There's no real reason for him not to come on. He wasn't pictured in training yesterday at all. So that's already corroborates what this guy was saying. So, you would think if, he wasn't for some reason wasn't in training. Maybe the only thing is it could be an injury. Maybe they'll come out and say he was injured, but then that could be a convenient excuse. Like say, oh, he's got a little knock like Vicario or something like that. One of these players who wants to leave and they're just saying he's injured just to stop the tabloids, but actually there's more to it. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes. But it hasn't been picked up by any of the mainstream or anything like that. It hasn't been leaked. It's only been leaked by this one guy on WhatsApp.
Yeah, maybe after this game, with a few journalists there, something might come out. But
they should ask. They need to ask Rose, why did you not bring Krupi on?
Yeah, they'll say he's got a little bit of a knock or something. But it might not be anything to do with Tottenham. It could be more to do with PSG, to be honest. Like with PSG and the Andy Amande thing going a bit quiet and talks breaking down apparently between PSG and Leipzig, could that be more about PSG and Krupi?
Who knows? Could be. Could well be. But as I've said, I know I'm biased, but I don't think it's the right move for him going to PSG right now.
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong move for him.
He might not think like that, though.
He might not, but if he's got good people around him, he comes Spurs.
Well,
I'll advise it. Give me your number, Krupi. I'll advise you. Tottenham's the place for you. Are they going to spend what's going to needed to get him in? Maybe.
Yeah. They're talking 85 million euros. I mean, if it is 85 million euros...
Get it done.
Get it done, man. Just get it done. All right. Well, that is that. We've got a couple of super chats. Espen Anderson saying, really optimistic so far this summer. Like all other summers, what signings do we still need this summer to genuinely compete for a top 4 finish? I think minimum 2, hopefully 3 in the forward line. If you brought in a minimum of 2, a striker and a left winger, then I think that's probably enough to be in the Champions League conversation.
Yeah, I think Champions League and a left winger. That would pass in on really good footing. If we want anything more than that, you probably need to bring Alex Scott in as well, and probably another winger.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at our starting lineup now, right? Kinski in goal, Porro right back, Van Hecke, Van de Ven, Udogi, Tonali, Fernandez, Maddison, Kudus. Like, that is a great team. And then you just need those 2 players to finish that starting 11.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Michael Hellman says, Richie better get gone. Come on, you Spurs.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe someone comes in for him.
Carl B, our resident gooner, has said, question, what's Jed Spence's best position, on the right or the left?
Look, there's no getting away from the fact his best performances have been off the left recently. That's true. But I don't know if I truly believe, like, all things being equal, is his best position. He's better on the left than the right. I think if he was to play a whole season off the right, he'd be better there. But that just hasn't happened in so long.
Yeah.
So right now, it probably is the left.
I still think he's a better on the right, in my opinion. I know we haven't seen him there much recently, but I do think he's better on the right. That's his natural position. So, Michael Hellman says, if Spurs are serious, start terminating contracts. Not for the starters. No more just chilling at Hotspur Way. A financial penalty for a clean slate. Would you think about ripping up Richie's contract?
Why?
If he refuses to leave?
What benefit does that give us?
To have him out the squad?
What's the difference between him being out of the squad and him being in the reserves or off the bench or whatever? Unless you think he's going to cause problems.
Well, the only thing is like if he's in the squad and he's not even making match day squads, then you've got probably someone sulking around the place, and maybe it's bad vibes.
So to prevent someone sulking, you cancel his contract. Fine. Doesn't really bother me. As I say, I don't think I would, because he scored 11 goals last season. I wouldn't cancel his contract, but I also want rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, if the club are desperate to sell him and he's refusing to leave, then it's not.
If the club's position is we're not going to sign a striker until one of Richarlison and leaves, then yeah, I'll cancel his contract. That would be my position. If we're willing to sign a striker while he's still here, then no, I wouldn't cancel him.
The thing is with Richie, he's not a troublemaker.
Yeah, I don't believe that exactly. I don't believe that.
But I think, no, I mean, there's no one I would cancel the contracts of in the club, to be honest. I don't think any of them are troublemakers. Anyway, that is the super chats. Let's get into some comments, people. What have we got today, Sim?
Comments. All right. Some of these are directed at you and Daigle because I was ill. So,
you say I had no part in this.
I had no part in this. John, U6S7 says, I hope the mantra, if you're good enough, you're old enough, is applied to Luca Williams-Barnett. Even though 17 years old, I'd like to think we don't send him on loan, but keep him in the first team squad and give him minutes during the season. I know loan experience can be important to young players, but in this case, I think we'll be better served gaining that experience within the first team with minutes and training.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it also,
but you said, yeah, you can't loan him. You said, yeah.
No, we can't loan him. So we have to keep him around. But I guess instead of loan being an option, putting him in the under-21s being the option. So I would keep him around the first team. I really would. And I think as well, if you keep him around the first team, there's been this concern about pathways to the first team from the academy. And, you know, it will make younger players more open to joining us as well, or you know the academy players not looking to leave, as we've seen over the past few weeks. So yeah, I would keep him part of the first team, and I would look to give him minutes because I think he's that good.
100%. This guy seems to have absolute star quality. I think everyone's very rightly excited about him. He's a Spurs boy. I think everyone's bringing up that video of him as like a 10-year-old or wherever he is, or 12-year-old, with him and Lucas Moura in the car and talking about scoring his Ajax. And he seems to have Spurs in his heart. I'm just imagining it. I'm imagining a day in maybe 5 years' time, maybe less, where we have a starting lineup of Williams Barnett in the 10, Mikey Moore off the left, Junai Byfeld at centre back with Malachi Hardy. I mean, one day,
Olasesi in midfield.
Olasesi in midfield, eh? One day, I think. One day we can dream.
Exactly.
Kane 82 says Solanke looks so laid back, like he's in chill mode 24/7. He doesn't seem or look hungry, like he has nothing to prove. Yeah, he came in for a lot of criticism after his performance against the Dons. Do you think he doesn't feel the pressure for his place?
I'm not sure about not feeling the pressure. I just don't know how into it he is. Like, if it's true that he was willing to go to Saudi at the end of the season, and there was
But
actually
Solanke was.
yeah, Solanke.
He was willing to go to Saudi.
Apparently, he had a deal wrapped up to go to Saudi at the end of the season if we were getting relegated.
Oh, I have heard some things about him through the grapevine, like he actually doesn't care that much about Spurs.
Yeah, I've heard those things too, and I've heard that he was, had a deal agreed to go to Saudi if we were getting relegated. I don't know, man. I'm not convinced on Solanke. I haven't been for a while. So, but look, in terms of the performance in the number 9, both of them were pretty stinky, to be honest.
At least Rishi was trying to score.
Yeah, just failing.
Yeah,
I think Solanke tried to score as well and fluffed his lines a couple of times. So I think both of them put in really bad performances.
TCR says this deluded fan base widely believes we weren't a bottom table club despite back-to-back 17th place finishes. The injury situation was undoubtedly crucial to that, but modern day football is a squad game, and we built a squad that doesn't compete in the face of injuries. I say that to say this: we are a mid-table team. If we don't put goals in the team, I love the new additions, but when people talked about the progressive passing of Van Heck and Senesi, my first thought was wait until they're kicking those balls off to Richarlison. No winger is going to turn Solanke into a clinical one-touch assassin, especially not the ones we currently have. De Zerbi ball can't compensate for this front line, and Rishi is never leaving.
I think it talks about the service that they're getting. Solanke and Richarlison are getting. You need proper wingers there as well, and Kudus is one, but we don't have a proper one on the left-hand side. So I think they can get more goals than they potentially got. Maybe not Richarlison. I think maybe 15 at most. But even 15 is a good goal return, to be fair, in the Premier League. So I think they can get goals, but I just don't think they're what we want or what we need. I think, look, Solanke has shown that in that one season for Bournemouth that he got 19 goals or whatever it was in the Premier League. But at the moment, that's just kind of like a one-off season. Richarlison has never been the kind of that clinical in front of goal. So you're going to have to create a lot more chances for those strikers than you do for maybe another striker, a clinical one that we bring in.
I think comfortably they could both get 10 goals. But if we're looking for, I think Solanke, his problem is he's just not a great finisher. Like he isn't his shooting technique isn't fantastic, so you have to create a lot for him. He doesn't create his own goal scoring opportunities. He's just not great at the angles. He can be good if he's right in front of the goal in the center, but other than that, he's not really. You don't expect him to score many goals. And then Rishi, as I've said, I just think physically he's declined. I think he's a better finisher than Solanke, but even then he's like a 1 in 3 kind of finisher, and his overall game is absolutely lacking. And I think physically he has definitely declined quite rapidly over these last few years. So if that's going to continue, that's a problem. So I think you could get away with having one of them as backup to a different striker, but having both of them together. Look, I've before last season even, I didn't mind the idea of both of them together and battling out with each other, but it hasn't really come to pass. But here's the truth: we've never really had them both fit at the same time ever.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, if we have them both fit, it might be okay, but we just never have.
They're not reliable enough. That's the reality. Neither of them.
But maybe with these new medical departments, we can keep them fit. Rishi's obviously been so injury prone, and where I don't know what's happened with Solanke. For one reason, he keeps kicking the ground and doing his ankle.
Yeah.
He's being an idiot. But when he was before he came to Spurs, he was known as this player who plays every game. It's crazy.
In an ideal world, I would sell both of them. I really would.
I think selling both of them this summer would be a bit too much. I'd give us too much to do.
If it's possible to bring in two strikers, I would do it. Look, I agree, it probably is too much to do, but that's what I would do.
But you know what? I wouldn't be against selling both and getting Krupi in. Why not go for Ollie Watkins? I don't see a problem with that.
Are Villa going to let another one go? They've let the whole team go at this point.
Well, apparently they're open. I don't know, reports suggesting like they might let him go. Like they offered him to Arsenal a few years ago for like 60, but he's 20. Was he 29 now?
I think he's 30 now.
He's 30. Like if we bid like 35, 40 million, would they say yes?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I'd even bring in a croupier alongside like a Brian Brobby or something. You know, there are other strikers out there that you can get to play that kind of role in the team.
Brobby, yeah, could go Brobby. I'm not crazy over Brobby, but I think he's all right.
But I think, you know, Brobby, if you could have him alongside a Krupi, just caused carnage when he came on. I think he'd be a decent option for us. The thing is with Brobby, right? He's not exactly the best player in the world or anywhere close to it, but you hate playing against him. Everyone hates playing against him, and you love to have those players on your team.
When Solanke first joined, he was that kind of player as well, but it's just that's kind of gone out of his game.
Yeah.
He was like this incredible presser who was just relentless and was giving defenders so much trouble, but that seems to not be the case as much over the last year.
And as someone said in the comments, another player that I would consider is even Tony.
Tony, yeah, I think it's too. If he's on all these wages at Saudi and all this stuff, it's going to be too difficult.
Yeah, obviously there's that. I mean, I don't even know how much he's on, but he must be on a fair packet.
I'd rather go Watkins.
I'll take Watkins.
Villa.
100% I'll take Watkins.
What about a cheap deal for Chris Wood?
No, I'm not taking Chris Wood.
Why? He's been class over the last 2 years.
He barely kicked the ball last season. He was injured the whole year.
But when he was fit, he was good.
There's no chance. You can't take a 35-year-old that's been injured for a whole season.
He was quite good, I thought, in the World Cup as well, when he played.
Forget Chris Wood, mate. Come on. Not going for Chris Wood.
I kind of like Chris Wood. Underrated.
He's not, mate. He's not.
Get him on a 2-year deal.
2 years? He's 35.
So what?
What are you on about? Chris
2 years
Wood?
is short.
Huh?
2 years is short.
No, mate. Come on. We're talking about Spurs with this newfound wealth and we get Chris Wood. Come on.
All right, I'll stick to Watkins.
Jesus Christ.
I don't think he's a bad player.
Chris Wood is not the caliber that we need at this football club. You're talking about going for Ollie Watkins and you say, yo, what about Chris Wood? Come on, man.
Well, last year, not okay, last year was injured, but the year before that, he was one of the top scorers in the league.
Yeah, and we all said it's a one-off season.
No, but even the year before that, he was scoring goals.
Nah, come
It
on.
wasn't a one-off.
I'm not having Chris Wood. If anyone, Garassi, 100%, Isaac Joseph, Garassi, he's the man that we should be getting.
Yeah, it's gone very quiet, that one. BS Arkley says, aren't you both doing exactly what you did with Frank, though? Eating up everything he is saying. I'm not making that mistake again. I am just going to wait and see pretty much most of next season. This is in response to your video about De Zerbi's interview.
Yep. I mean, look, you can't talk about Thomas Frank and Roberto De Zerbi in the same breath. Like, I obviously made those mistakes with Thomas Frank last summer, and I will be making the same mistakes again with Roberto De Zerbi because he's a different kettle of fish.
What were you just eat up everything he's got to say?
De Zerbi, 100%. De Zerbi is my master.
He wasn't saying we're going to lose games, though, for sure.
That's the thing. That's what we were saying in that video. A year difference. One was saying we're 100% going to lose games. The other one said Spurs should be fighting at the top of the league.
You eating up when Frank was saying it?
Yeah, I said he was just joking.
He was not joking. He's being 100% serious. AP86187 says, I'm no fan of Frank, but to his defense, if he was told and backed by the board like De Zerbi is getting, maybe he wouldn't be saying what he said. He's just being real, but I get it. It's a negative mindset. But my point is, if the board had said to Frank, look, we're going to give you 100 million to spend on a single player you feel is right for your vision, also another 85 million and another 50 odd million for another, we're still going to carry on backing you with more. Maybe Frank's mindset wouldn't have been that we're definitely going to lose games, and maybe he might feel confident of pushing at the top of the league with that kind of backing. My point is, it's not fair to judge these two men on what they've said when they are playing on two different playing fields. Like I said, I'm definitely not a fan of Frank, but I'm also fair and not biased.
I think that is just Frank's mentality, unfortunately. I didn't think it at the start, but it came very evident as the season progressed, the mentality that he has, not just in the words that he was saying, but in the football that he was playing and the cowardice that he was showing when setting up our teams. So I don't buy that at all. I just think Frank's mentality is a mid-table, bottom of the half manager's mentality. That's just what he is.
Yeah, when he spoke about, he had this quote, didn't he, about how many good games you play in a season. He's like, you play, 5 perfect games and then 20 okay games and 10 bad games. I can't remember exactly what the breakdown was, but I was like, what is he talking about when I was listening to this? I was like, yeah, maybe if you're Brentford, that's okay, but this is Tottenham. You can't just have 5 good games. Like,
yeah.
What are you
and if anyone
about?
would say that to me, but yes, but this is the same team that finished 17th last season.
Yeah, everything. And I think as well, his mentality is, new project. It's going to be some learning curves. I don't think he was like, we're going to lose games, because we're just so bad. It's more like, it's a project and there's going to be learning curves, and so there'll be lost games in the meantime. But it's just the way he went about explaining that to the fans was just so strange and odd. And I think he was just nowhere near had the right mentality or was the right fit for a club like Tottenham. It was just so wrong.
No.
It was just so wrong.
No.
Michael Knight says, none of our previous managers had a plan. He does. He knows this is his big chance at a massive club who could go on to do big things. Embrace him, his vision, and it will happen.
None of our
previous managers has a plan, and he's talking about De Zerbi. He says De Zerbi does.
Yeah.
He knows his big chance at a massive club who could go on to do big things. Embrace him and embrace his vision, and it will happen.
100%. To be fair, I do think Ange did have a plan. Obviously, he had a distinct style of play. Look, I think all the managers, maybe apart from Thomas Frank, I think even Thomas Frank had a plan. It was just a very bad plan. So I don't agree. I think that these managers did have a plan, but also the club didn't facilitate the plans well enough at all. whereas the club is facilitating the plan under Roberto De Zerbi very well.
Yeah, I agree. I think De Zerbi, as I've said before, when I remember when we first brought up his name, I was saying this guy is one of the more revolutionary coaches of the modern generation. So he's been at the forefront of football in this current time. So when he has a plan, you can trust that it's going to be a plan that's worthy of this kind of timing in football, rather than maybe it always feels like the other coaches, we've kind of got them too late, or it's not been the right timing, or we're getting them when they're a few years behind. But with De Zerbi, it feels different. It's like the right time, right place, right time now with him.
And it's the biggest job that he's had as well. He's never had kind of funds or resources like this in his career. So it's going to be a joy to behold this season.
The Adventures of Don says, wasn't Savinho like 60 to 70 million last season when we tried to sign him? How does his price go up with even less time on the pitch than before and fewer years on his contract? That makes no sense whatsoever. If they want 80 million, we need to walk.
Have we said 80 million?
Apparently there's rumours of them upping their price to 80 million. That's why there's
80 million is nuts for Savinho. But I guess that the market is in a different place than it was a year ago. The market is much more inflated this season. So that's the only kind of reasoning I can see behind it.
Yeah, they've raised the price. I mean, 80 million, way too much. But then again, if you had 80 million to spend, who would you spend it on? On the wing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's also a good point. That's also a good point. There's surely players out there that would be willing to part for. Who? Minte? Don't know. I like Minte. Ndai, people are saying in the comments.
Ndai.
Savio won't go for 80 million. I think it's agreed in the background. They're just waiting for someone, for Man City to bring someone in.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping that's the thing anyway, because if it's not, then it's a bit of a worry. Mr. B Seeks, look at me, says it makes so much sense to move Bentancur and Pape Sarr on so that Bergvall can stay, as Bergvall will be homegrown after this season. That's such a huge deal, having a homegrown player as part of the first team. Our academy to first team conversion has left a lot to be desired lately. Obviously, that's another good point. But if we can keep Bergvall, that's a club trained player we have as well.
It's a massive plus having that. We went through it last week in terms of what our squad's going to look like next season with the numbers, with hopefully going back into European football. Having him and Archie Gray a part of that, both homegrown players, both club-trained players, be absolutely massive for us. So that's why I keep saying we need to prioritise Bergvall over a Bentancur, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I think Bentancur is not the future of Tottenham. As much as I like him, I do like him, and I think he's a good player. Bergvall is the future, and I'd rather keep him. So if we're selling Bergvall and keeping Bentancur, I think that's just like at the end of the day, we're probably going to sell Bentancur in a year's time, even if he stays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what's the point of keeping selling Bergvall for 1 year of Bentancur? You know what I mean? That's just
exactly, and his stock will be even lower, Bentancur. So that's what they said. You know, you need to know the right time to sell players, and I just feel like it's the right time now with Bentancur.
Oh, that's it.
Big up to all of you guys once again for staying so active in the comment section. And there's a couple more super chats before we end the stream. Michael Hellman says Vincent Janssen versus Solanke. Well, Vincent Janssen was definitely available, Ball, that's for sure.
Was he? I don't remember.
Andrew says, would you sell Bentancur if it meant Bergvall stays? Well, I think we've covered that. Yes, most definitely. And our resident gooner, Carl B, saying, at least the North London derby will be more competitive this season. We're coming for Arsenal this season. I'm telling you, we're beating Arsenal this season.
Home and away, we're going to do the double.
At least one of them, man. Come on. We got to beat them this season.
Can't commit to a double, eh?
I can't commit to a double. But at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they're getting it. They are getting it this season. 100%. And I cannot wait for it. And the vibes are going to be immaculate. They're going to be absolutely immaculate. But, yeah, that's it from us today. Have a good weekend, everyone. Hopefully some more news breaks over the weekend and we'll be here to cover it for you, obviously. And do get your jerseys over the weekend from okjersey.com. 10% off with your code SPURS. If you haven't got the new Spurs shirt yet, home or away, they have got you covered. The training gear will be going on there very, very soon as well. So the link is pinned to the live chat. Code is SPURS, 10% off. Make sure to order a size up as well. But we'll see you all very, very soon, people. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.